Obviously a disappointing loss. We did not go out there and execute like we are capable of and like we needed to in order to beat a very good Tulane football team. It's a tough one because we had every opportunity and we knew it's a team that we certainly could not only compete with but also beat. Credit to them. They did an excellent job. And what I told the team in the locker room after the game is that, all 120 guys in there, every coach, every member of the staff, starting with me, wasn't good enough. It wasn't what we needed in order to win the football game, and we've all got to be better. The easy thing is to place blame. The easy thing is to make excuses. The easy thing is to point fingers. But all we know is to go back and work and find ways to win a football game and to improve. Because if we keep going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, hey, this is what we get, we're fine, we can just do it. No, we got to find ways to come out faster. In all three phases, play 4 quarters of football like we are capable of. We knew that if we turned the football over in this game, we wouldn't give ourselves a chance because it's a very good team. We turned the ball over twice. I believe we had 3 dropped interceptions. And we continue to show that we are capable, but we haven't put it together for 4 quarters. And that's my job to figure that out. We are 4-2. Not happy with that because we certainly have the ability to be 5-1 right now. The season's not over. One game will not define us, whether it was a win or a loss. We've got to find ways, though, to come out and come out swinging. UAB is a very good opponent, playing on the road. It's another conference game. But we've got to find ways to get better, and we'll look at all those things that we've got to do and, continue into conference play. All of our hopes, goals, and dreams are still in front of us. We're going to take it one day at a time and one game at a time. We'll learn a lot from this, good, bad, and ugly, and we're going to move on and get our focus on how do we improve ourselves and then focus on UAB.
Ryan, was Blake Watson hurt, or was there a reason he didn't play after the third quarter?
Yeah, obviously our run game was ineffective. Let's call it what it is. Our run game as a whole was ineffective. We had to plan to play Brandon Thomas, some this game, and then we know that what Sutton was able to do. Just kind of where we were in the game. Blake may have been a little bit chipped up, and I just, sometimes you get a feel. You look at your guys and say, okay, do we need to make a sub there? I don't think it mattered who our running back was. We were pretty ineffective. Obviously, Sutton broke off some decent runs on some mid-zone concepts when he needed to, but ineffectiveness all along. We'll evaluate every single one of our guys. Obviously, Blake's still a very good running back, but we got full faith in Sutton Smith and Brandon Thomas as well.
This is the second straight game where you ended the first half strong, but the start, the offense didn't get going. What are you seeing and why that is?
Yeah, if I had that, I wish I had that answer. And you're right, exactly right. It's just not, the energy's there, the eyes are there, the understanding. It's not like we went out there and had a bunch of missed assignments. We're just not executing. And part of our keys to victory going into this game were, we talked about attention to detail, owning the football and winning our one-on-ones. And really for that first, and let's call it what it is, both games, our 2 previous games, we didn't handle what we needed to in the first 20 minutes on offense. And so we got to look at, okay, is there something we can do a little bit differently? Scripting plays, maybe preparing for different defenses we're seeing, all of the above. But that's part of our job as coaches to find a way. Because, all of a sudden, if versus UAB we start off fast and then don't finish, it's, oh, wait, that reminds you of the team last year. So we'll explore that. Obviously we do. It's inexcusable. We got to find ways to start faster on offense, and really in all 3 phases play more consistent. I told our team we didn't have to go out there and dominate in any phase. We just had to go out there and execute and handle our business. And this is what our team, the ebbs and flows of our football team, in all 3 phases. And obviously we started off slow. We'll continue to explore that, and hopefully, Frank, I can have that answer for you, next Saturday afternoon and say, okay, hey, we got it figured out. But that's our job to continue to look into that and see what we can do.
In the second half, you go up 21-10, and then they kind of take back control of the game. What was it then that switched up and kind of had the 21-0 run going?
Yeah, college football. Obviously, I believe we had turned the ball over. You go into that game, like I said before, you can't turn the ball over against a good Tulane. They hit some explosive plays. I think the ineffectiveness of our defense to get off the ball or to get off the field on third downs truly hurt us, right? I mean, that's I think you look at it, we'd get them to a third and manageable and couldn't get off the field. And so, we've got to find ways. Obviously, they've got a fantastic team, and that, we weren't able to stop them there. And then offensively, some self-inflicted wounds as well, and playing a really good team, you can't do that. You've got to go out there and be dialed in and click on all cylinders. And, for whatever reason, I'm sure Jonah will look at a play and I'll say, hey, this play may have been one of the O-linemen. The next play, this play, may have been one of the wide receivers. Then this play may have been a quarterback. And then defensively, we may say the same thing. Hey, this guy's got to stay in his gap, or we had a missed tackle here. And so those are the things we got to piece together. And we got to be really good at them throughout the week in order for them to show up better on a Friday night or a Saturday. And, the thing is, you sit there and you say, okay, wow, we've got – man, at times we look like ability to be conference champs right there. Like, I don't think anybody sat there and watched the game and said, ugh, these guys don't care. They've given up. There's no fight to them. No, I think people – and our own players is the opinion that matters to me. And obviously, I love what our fans think. But, they sat there and said, okay, we know what we got to do. And at times we look like darn champions, and other times we look like we've got a lot of work to do. And that's my job, is to find a way to put that all together. But I challenged our team. It's different, after some games and the tough ones, you sit there and sometimes you say, okay, guys, hey, let's continue. We'll find ways. I called it like it is. I don't sugarcoat anything. That's the exact same thing I said when I walked in the locker room. Like, wasn't good enough. Not by anybody in here. It starts with me. And the one thing is, everybody said, yeah. And I said, people are going to want to make excuses. We're not making excuses. But we've got to learn from this. And credit to our leaders, because right after I got done talking, before they broke up, they just said, man, we're a team, and we're going to learn from this game. And we've got to put it behind us quickly and learn from it. And then immediate focus to UAB, because it's college football, man. Every week's a new season, and I want our guys to take care of their bodies tomorrow, and then we got to get it going and put the pedal to the metal and find ways to get better.
Speaking of self-infliction, is it going to be hard to accept this defeat with the penalty on the dead ball penalty on third and second down, and on one drive you get 8 yards on first down and not be able to get a first down? Is it going to make it harder to accept this type of victory when you could have done things to extend drives or end drives? Well,
you obviously, Terry, every loss is just gut-wrenching. It sucks the life out of you. It literally takes anybody that's ever sat in the seat, and the players that care, and we've got 95% of our players absolutely love this team, or bought in, or truly all in. As a head coach, it literally takes years off your life. It freaking kills you. And so regardless of the loss, right, I don't care if you lose by a point on the last second Hail Mary or you get your tail kicked in. But you're exactly right. The way the unnecessary roughness, that's inexcusable. That is not us. I'm very, very, very disappointed in the individual that did it. He will be handled appropriately, and that's not us. So my apologies to our fans. My apologies to Tulane for that BS move on our part, and we will get that fixed. There's no room for that in college football. There's no room for that in the Memphis program. Anybody that's been around me and understands that is not what we believe in, and that makes me sick to my stomach more than the loss, obviously, but then to see something like that occur, I apologize, and we'll make sure that there's no room for that in our program.
Coach, talk about how the offensive line did tonight.
Yeah, inconsistent, right? We knew that Tulane had a very good defensive line, and I think that, there's times they looked pretty decent and showed some decent protection, and then times we got beat on an inside pass rush move, times that, one guy wasn't able to sustain a block in the run game. Anytime you're not able to run the football, that always starts up front. And so I think the O-line, the 5 guys that played tonight, would be the first to say not even close to our standard and the expectation of what we need up front. And they'll be some of the first to sit there and say, okay, that falls on our shoulders. And that's why I at least appreciate about that group. They're going to find ways to go back and dig deeper and find ways to improve, but not good enough effort.
Coach, with the platform you got put on like the ESPN, the crowd being hyped for the game Friday night, do you feel like you guys have this opportunity to kind of get the wave going, keep the momentum going that season?
Yeah, first off, the crowd was phenomenal. I appreciate everybody showing up. It's, you know, the best crowd of the year, and the students once again were great, and the crowd was into it and supportive, and they did a fantastic job. No, you know how you get the crowd back again? Find a way to win the next 2 games, because they'll show up because they bleed blue. They love their Tigers, their players. The Memphis football program will continue to fight and find a way to come back victorious. And, you know, we're going to encourage the fans to keep believing. 4-2, it's not the end of the world, because obviously we 1 game at a time, but we hope to come back home 6-2 and a chance to continue to improve upon the season. But we're grateful for our fan support. We're going to encourage them to continue to stick with us and encourage them to make the drive over to Birmingham and be there for us in another conference game, I guess, as we used to say in Memphis, the Battle of the Bones. But for me, it's the next game, and it's the most important one of the season.
When you talk about the hopes, goals, and dreams still being in front of you, is it tough to not think big picture about this might have been the one mulligan? You guys probably have to run the table the rest of the way to get there and focusing on 1 game at a time instead?
You know, I've always truly, in my heart of hearts, the way college football's gone, it is a 1 game at a time thought process, and that's all I can ever think about. We knew the magnitude of this game. You know, we understood, like Devin said, yeah, it was on ESPN and a chance to showcase, and we didn't get it done. But that's not going to affect how we prepare for UAB. It's not going to affect our approach. We've got to be better, regardless of that is. And so all we can do is, you know, focus 1 game at a time and say, okay, what's the next step? And that's what I appreciate about our players and the guys in that locker room. They'll go back and they'll say, okay, good. This game wasn't what we needed to do. Let's learn from this. UAB is the next game. We can't think beyond that. We can't. It's great to think big picture, but man, every week is a season on its own. So our guys are going to be, I know they're going to learn from this game, and then come Sunday at 3:30 in the afternoon, their focus is going to be on UAB and what do we need to do to win that game. And then guess what? Find a way to whatever it takes for that week, and then the next week, and then the next week, and 1 game at a time. And all we can do is hope when it's all said and done, the dust settles. We like where our record's at, and it gives us a chance to compete for a championship. We know winning conference games is as important as anything, but, man, for us to think anything outside of learning from this one and the focus on the next opponent, it would be an injustice and a disservice to our own team and our program. And that's the great thing about our guys is I know, like, there's that deep desire, all right, what do we got to do to get better, Coach? And that's what gives me hope and belief, because I've told you guys that their eyes have been phenomenal. I tell you guys in every press conference, and it sounds like Coach speaking corniness, but we'll improve from this. We'll find a way to continue to get work.
Hey, Coach, you went down 10, then you went up, scored 21 points. Why weren't you able to maintain that momentum through the end?
Yeah, we didn't execute. Lack of execution, obviously. You know, you kind of mentioned the foolish penalty by ourselves, not being able to get off the field, not being able to make plays. You know, inability, like I said, I think, you know, and I'll watch the film tonight, you know, what was it on this play, right? Was it a D lineman on this play? Was it a right guard on this play? Was it a linebacker on this play? You know, so I think we're going to look and say, okay, just lack of execution by everybody, and it's our job as coaches to put them in the right situations. Like I said, I always look back and see what we can do, but, you know, when it was all said and done, we just didn't execute. And I think that's the common thing, right? When you win a game, man, the guys were clicking. We were able to find ways to execute. But we've got to do it more consistently, and I know that's a word I've been using, and find ways, you know, the ebbs and flows of football games. Obviously, you always want to be able to finish a game the right way, and tonight we did not.
I apologize if this is interesting, I wasn't late, but Blake Watson wasn't playing there towards the second half. Was it injury related?
Yeah, you know, one, like I mentioned earlier, Mark, we weren't running the ball effectively. And so, yeah, we had plans to play Sutton a little bit more and Brandon Thomas, you know, who's a name you guys hadn't heard in a while. We know he's an effective running back. And, you know, Blake was kind of – I just wanted to make sure we were fully dialed in. But like all of our guys, right, I mean, every guy's chipped up at this point. And, you know, we still got great faith in him. We got great faith in Sutton and all those guys. But, you know, we'll evaluate it. All the guys will be checking in tomorrow to make sure they're all okay.
They had a lot of time possession in the first half. Do you feel like the defense kind of wore down in the second half later in the game, or was it just execution?
Yeah, it was execution. We will not use the excuse of being worn down. I mean, we rotate enough guys that we should go out there and be able to do it. But the inability to get off the field on third downs, I think, Jonah, ultimately that was what led to the time of possession difference. And then also, not being able to get those stops when you do them, because 3rd and 9, right? 3rd and 12, 3rd and 5. And I think we're going to look back and say, man, that was the difference, is lack of conversions by our offense on third downs, and then defensively not be able to get off the field.
Coach, the reoccurring themes of defense, the run defense, multiple targets creating that allowed 100-yard rushes. What's the game plan moving forward to fix the run game, potentially bring guys in there and obviously add another concept?
Yeah, absolutely. I still believe in college football, right? You got to be able to stop the run to win a football game. Tulane was able to hit some shots on us. And it's that fine balance, right? You can play some man coverage. You can play some what I call one high defense in order to get the extra defender in the box to stop the run. We just got to continue to be cleaner at our tackles. We got to dominate the line of scrimmage and all those things we weren't able to do. So we'll evaluate and say, okay, one, do we have the best personnel on the field in order to play effective defense? 2, we're putting our guys in the right calls defensively in order to handle the run or the pass. I mean, you load the box every time, then they're going to take shots on us. And then we talked about it all week, is winning our one-on-one matchups. And I think there's times where we said, okay, we're going to line up to stop the run, and then all of a sudden you see us get beat in a one-on-one matchup at DB, and or not getting home in a pass rush, right? If you're rushing 5, you got to get home, and I think that they go hand in hand. And so we'll evaluate everything. Look, I am very, very, very disappointed. I'm sick to my stomach. Not good enough. But we're not going to have a sky-is-falling approach and scrap our offense, defense, and special teams, because we're capable. We've just got to find ways to do it for 4 quarters.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.